peut faire comme un petit peu dans des lieux sacrés, comme à l'église. On peut se lever et je vous demande d'applaudir Jimmy Page.
Alors, bonjour tout le monde. The first Led Zeppelin rehearsal was, everyone was sort of chosen by this point. I'd worked with Robert. I brought him to my house and I played him the material that I was very keen to do in this new band that I was putting together. And so the equivalent of, Dazed and Confused, Babe, I'm Going to Leave You, these sort of things were played to him then. And I'd felt John Bonham's playing in London. He played in a club with somebody called Tim Rose, who wrote Hey Joe, which obviously Jimi Hendrix did. But he was playing with him. There wasn't too many people. There was just Tim Rose playing guitar, Bonzo playing drums, and a bass player. And I really, he came from the Midlands. He came from Birmingham. And just like Robert, they both came from the Midlands, but they weren't really known outside of Birmingham, really. So John Bonham had this sort of tour, and I had a chance to feel his playing, and I thought, this is going to be superb. He's just the right person. And then John Paul Jones comes into the band at a later stage. He hears I'm getting the band together and calls up. So there we are. There's the four entities, and I'm pretty, I know it's going to work. I know it's going to work. But I'm ill-prepared, and so is everybody else in that room, just to what the impact it's going to have on our lives musically. And I mean that from just playing together, and the force of it, the sheer force of it was just astonishing. And every one of us knew that we should be playing together from that point. So that's how I felt, really moved. This track is on the companion disc, or discs, to Coda. However, it goes right back to the first recordings of Led Zeppelin. And the first album of Led Zeppelin is done in 36 hours, something like that, of when you add up all the time. Yet there were still two tracks that didn't surface on that album. One was Baby Come On Home, and Sugar Mama. Now, Sugar Mama is actually, even though we've heard a little bit of it, we've more or less heard half of it already. There's not a lot more to come. And being insistent at the time that we didn't want to be part of a singles market, that it was just the albums that were to come out, it was dangerously close because it was so short to what might be thought of as a single. And plus, at the time, I didn't think that it had the same weight as the other songs that were on the first album. The first album was designed to be something that was really going to be an assault, both physically and emotionally, on the listener, and that's it. It was a musical assault. And I didn't really think that came down in the same category of sort of Babe, I'm Going to Leave You, Dazed and Confused, which were far more weighty, do you know what I mean? So anyway, it's good to be able to put it out now. Personally, I prefer vinyl. Yeah, I do. And the thing is that great. But I do. First of all, we have to understand that that's how, all of this music, all of the new music that I've found, all the new different mixes, different versions and new songs, it's all on analog tape. And originally, it was designed to be, obviously, on a disc, a vinyl. I do prefer the sound of it. I find that there's more sort of depth in it. However, I'm sure that it's frustrating that it isn't there, duplicated in digital, but it surely soon will be. Well, actually, I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I'm passing a guitar shop, I still stop and look in the window. I mean, I just do it. I can't help that. You know, even when it's something that I did as a kid, and I still do it as an adult. So, you know, it's probably the kid in me that does that. I still get excited looking at sort of vintage guitars in the window. Right. I don't get excited looking at the prices of them, though. I can see there's people who've got their guitars with them today. Now, when I was so sort of consumed by the guitar when I was young that I used to take it to school. So that in the lunch break, I mean, you only had so much time to eat your lunch, and then the rest of the time there was nothing to do. So for me, I thought, I'll play the guitar. But it got confiscated, it got taken away, and then given back at the end of school. So, you know, they hoped that they'd discourage me from taking it. But how times have changed from those days. You know, in those days they were trying to squash rock and roll music and not play it on the airways. They couldn't stop it, could they? Well, it's getting a little distorted as to what has been said about Achilles' lower shield. It has. Under the circumstances of when Presence was recorded, they were sort of difficult times, certainly for Robert, because he was he was sort of in a wheelchair when we did the rehearsals for Achilles, and I was presenting the writing for it. Yeah, he was in a cast, his leg was in a cast. And also some weeks later at Munich, when we did the recording in the studio, he was still in a cast, you know, and it was dark times because he didn't know how he was going to be walking again when this cast came off, you know, whether he'd be able to walk absolutely 100% or 70% or whatever it was, you know, which obviously would have a knock-on effect with how we would perform on stage and everything. So we're putting everything that we've got. He's singing his heart out on this album, and in a way, I wanted to prove to myself that everything that I heard in my head I could do, and that the way that I saw this and heard it, that I could manage it. With the whole process of everything that's been done, all the Led Zeppelin stuff has taken a lot of time of listening and sort of doing things relative to the books and the artwork and all of that. It's taken quite a long time. And when the DVD came out of the O2 show, the Celebration Day DVD, there was still work that went into that. So I've been working all the way through. And I haven't been able to put the same sort of focus into the guitar playing that I would definitely do from now on. This all comes out in July. I'll have finished doing the promo, and that's the thing that I want to concentrate on, obviously, is playing the guitar, and in order to sort of be seen to be playing the guitar. So that's the plan. Right. I've got a guitar project in mind, so yeah, I definitely hope to be seen to be playing by then, 2016, if not before. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks for your encouragement. Thank you. Merci.
Thanks you again for coming here.
Oh, it's great.
I was telling the audience that it was quite a thing to listen to Led Zeppelin track in your presence. No pun intended.
Oh, mon plaisir.
Merci Jimmy Page. Merci.
Merci. Merci. Au revoir.